Helen and I are going to give some of our viewers a few more minutes because we see that people are still popping in. So be patient, and we're going to start in about another minute or two. In the meantime, grab your favorite beverage. We have coffee.
Yes.
And you may notice Helen and I are wearing our vaccination stickers
Mm-hmm.
because we, along with Alicia and Randy, have all been vaccinated here at
Yes.
Knollwood. Dose one.
Yep.
Still haven't had dose two,
Those
but
two to come.
yes,
Yep. It's very exciting.
it is exciting.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a party atmosphere the day of the vaccinations last week,
Mm-hmm.
and we have another day of vaccinations this week.
Yeah.
So
It'll be great.
if you were living here, you could have been part of the party.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think we're probably okay to start now. I think enough people have joined in and are tuned in. So we're going to start off with our program. And again, I'm going to thank everybody for coming. Uh, for those of you who are new to our group, um, Helen and I um, spend our days here at Knollwood, even during COVID. Most of our days are not spent doing webinars. A lot of coffee, though.
Yeah.
Coffee, phone calls. Most of Helen's time is spent showing people around Knollwood. A lot of my time, I try to do some of that, but a lot of my time is done on more administrative type tasks and planning for webinars like this. But we thank you for tuning in, and we're waiting for our slides to show up on our screen.
So,
Um, but yeah, so we're going to give you a little bit of a background just on Knollwood, just so the first time viewers will know a little bit about Knollwood. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Knollwood. And if you have a question while we're on the slides, you can kind of key it in either to the chat box at the bottom of your screen or the Q&A box. Your cursor will have to be toward the bottom of your screen for those boxes to show up. If your question pertains to the slide we're on, we'll probably pause and take it at that time. If your question is not related to the screen we're on, we'll probably wait until the end. And just kind of as a reminder, this is going to be recorded. If you want to watch it again, it's on our website, knollwoodcommunity.org. And there's other information on our website as well. So always refer to that. And you can also reach Helen and I through our website, in addition to a phone or email. But Knollwood has been around for a great number of years. We are a nonprofit community, and we were founded by the ADF. Now, for people who don't know about our founding organization, we're actually going to have a special webinar in February.
Yep.
Not on our typical webinar day, but on a Wednesday in February. And so you can learn more about the Knollwood Foundation on that day. But we're on a big piece of property here in DC, northwest corner, adjacent, we're Chevy Chase, DC, adjacent to Chevy Chase, Maryland. You do have to be 62 or better to live here. And our community is known as a life plan community. So there are actually 5 levels of living at Knollwood. Most of the people who live here live in the largest neighborhood of Knollwood, which is independent living.
life plan communities.
Yeah.
So there are different types of life plan communities. I don't often get asked what type Knollwood is, but it is good to know,
It is.
especially if you're searching. Knollwood is a type C, which is fee for service. So if and when you do need care, that is when you would be paying for it. Prior, or the other types rather, are type A, which is life care. And so initially you are paying for some of the care that you're not actually receiving. You're kind of paying for the future.
Right.
And then you have type B, which is modified life care.
B is kind of like a blend.
Mm-hmm.
But with Knollwood, you're only going to pay for care if you need it.
Right. So if you're in assisted living or maybe skilled nursing, but in independent living, you're not paying.
For future care or for other people's care.
Exactly.
Right. Mhm. And you will find all three of these types in this general region of the country as well.
One thing that I forgot to mention is what you need to qualify as a life plan community. So Knollwood has both independent living as well as skilled nursing, which are the two components you need. In addition to that, we have a level in between, which is our assisted living. Under skilled nursing umbrella, we have long-term care and memory care. And then we do also have people who come for short-term Medicare stays, which are rehab stays.
Yeah. If you have a surgery, like maybe appendix comes out, gallbladder, or you have a hip replacement, and the hospital tells you you need therapy, that's available here at Knollwood. And the focus for that is really for people who live here, but on occasion, we have openings in rehab for people who don't live here to come here for a week or two for therapy, and we do have 5-star rating. Very good. Through Helen not, because usually I do that slide and she does the other one. So, so I know that there may be people who really don't know about Knollwood, and that's not really what this webinar is about. So you can look back on the webinars on our website.
Knollwoodcommunity.org.
Yep. And there is an episode there that is very general and covers a lot of the generalities of Knollwood. But today, this purpose of this particular session is to talk a little bit about, well, what about residency at Knollwood? So Knollwood actually does have a waiting list. People do not always have to be on the waiting list to come here and live. However, the larger or more desirable the apartment, then the waiting list is invaluable. When an opening comes up, we do reach out to people who are on our waiting list. So it's good to join the waiting list as a future plan. It's going to guarantee you a future opportunity. And, if you want the option of Knollwood, even if you're maybe only 40 or 50% sure that Knollwood is the place for you, you might want to consider the waiting list at that point so that you'll be in a good position when you do come to the point of, yes, now I'm gonna, plan my move. So you can talk about eligibility.
Absolutely. So, eligibility requirements.
For the waiting list. This is not for living here, everyone who's listening.
Yes, that first bullet point, any age. So, yes, to join the waiting list, you can be any age. We have people who are very young, who are 20 plus years out from a move to Knollwood, and they want one of the larger apartments. They want to be at the top of the list when they're ready. So that's one of the nice things. So if you are a planner, you can join the list ASAP. So we do have, as part of the application, a little bit about kind of a preliminary medical report, and really, we want you to be in good health. And we have a short financial section on the application, and really that's to ensure that you are able to pay for your first 5 years here at Knollwood. If after that time you ever need assistance in independent living or assisted living, there is the foundation here to support you, but we want to make sure that people can pay for those first 5 years. That's important.
So when somebody decides that they want to join the waiting list, we have an application document. It's rather simple. There's a health section, you self-report, and that is only when you're applying to join the waiting list. When you're actually applying for residency, there is actually a health review, which is not the same as just joining the waiting list. And then there's also a financial section that is also self-reported. And that is, again, where we're going to look at your financial scenario, going to compare it to maybe the size and price range of apartment homes you're interested in, and determine your viability to be able to live healthfully or arrive here when you're still in good health, both financially and physically. And it does require a $1,500 deposit. There is a actuarial review that's kind of part of your applying. And then it's kind of a decision point for you. So when someone's applying, if there's something available that they want and they're at the point of wanting to be living here within 2.5 or 3 months, they actually wouldn't join the waiting list at that time. They would actually reserve the apartment home that they were interested in. But most of the time, at the time of applying, people end up joining the waiting list.
So once you have done the initial application process, like Caroline was just discussing, we would have you come in, or we'd send you the waiting list agreement. And that is saying you really want to reserve a spot on the wait list, and you are making that next step, that next commitment to Knollwood. And at that time, you would sign the agreement and also put down another deposit, which is a $3,500 deposit. And when you make that second payment, the $1,500 application fee is no longer refundable. But if something happens, you change your mind, maybe you decide you want to move down to Florida, you can get your $3,500 waitlist deposit back.
Now, I will put a caveat in here that's not on this slide, but if for any reason you became ineligible to live at Knollwood while you were on the waiting list, for health reasons, financial reasons, or heaven forbid, if you passed away, then even your $1,500 is refundable. It's just if somebody says, I just changed my mind about coming to Knollwood, we give you your $3,500 back. At such time that you actually come to live at Knollwood, your $3,500 and your $1,500 apply toward the entry fee that you would pay to live here.
Yeah.
And the waiting list agreement is really like probably 1.5 pages. It's not a long, lengthy, wordy.
No.
It's written in English, not legalese. So it's a very easy to understand document.
Yeah, very straightforward. Yep. So the waiting list is organized by apartment size interest, as well as when people signed up to join the waiting list, when they made that deposit. Now we do also kind of have note of people's ideal timeline. Like I said, we do have some people who are younger, so we're not going to be bothering the people who are 20 years out saying, oh, well, that one bedroom, another one came available.
Yeah.
We know not to waste their time, but we are going to keep checking in on them, wishing them happy holidays, and inviting them to our events. Otherwise, we really focus on who is in the next year, 3, 5 years. We want to keep tabs on them, let them know what's available when it's coming available, and so they can be working towards that.
And many people, when they join the list, they may have multiple preferences of apartment styles. Yep. Or they may say, I want to be near the elevator. I mean, you just never know what people will prefer. So we keep all of that as part of our documentation for each person. So if somebody only wants an apartment near the elevator and it can only be a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, well, we might still call them if we have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath that's halfway from the elevator. If their date has come up, because we don't want them to miss out in case their preferences are broadening a little bit.
Yeah.
So we still may call somebody for something that's a little outside their preferences, just because we don't want people to miss an opportunity. And
Right.
it all goes by the date you join. Now, granted, if somebody only wants a 2-bedroom and den, we're not going to call them for a 1-bedroom apartment unless
No.
they're looking for a temporary jumping place.
Yes.
But, you know, but your preferences and your date put you in line.
Mhm.
And Helen, what happens if you call me and you have just the perfect apartment for me, but I can't come because I'm going to be away in England for 3 months for a wedding?
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Caroline. I can't wait. I can't hold that apartment for you.
Will I be called for the next one?
Well, of course you'll be called for the next one. So don't worry about that. But I'm gonna have to go to the next person on my list for this particular one.
So no one is punished if they
No,
have
not
to
at all.
pass,
Not at all.
but it might give someone else on the list a chance. So that's always kind of nice.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about the refundability before, but here we have it up again. Your $1,500 is always refundable if you haven't joined the waiting list, but people join the waiting list right after they go through the application process. So that's really just a matter of maybe a few days or a week.
Mhm.
And it will go toward the entry fee when you pick an apartment here. Your $3,500 waiting list deposit is always refundable, and it also applies toward your entry fee. So together these make up $5,000. But I do want to point out again that if you become ineligible for living here, your health changes, something happens to your financial scenario, you gambled all your money away, or if you, heaven forbid, you actually pass away, then even the $1,500 is refundable.
Benefits of joining the waiting list. So we've talked about a couple already. I mean, really, if we have some people who come and see Knollwood and they love the idea of this community and what it has to offer them in their future. And so they want to secure just a slice of that future. And then really, if you want a larger apartment, that also is a huge benefit of joining the waiting list because we have only so many large apartments. And the sooner you join, the sooner you get to the top and have the opportunity when it comes available. And if you're a planner, it gives you time to focus on right sizing, which can take some time, especially if you don't hire a move manager. So the sooner the better, always.
Yeah, a lot of times, I know there are people right now on the waiting list that are sorting and organizing and kind of planning. In fact, we've promised some empty boxes to one of them.
Yep.
And there's a move-in today, so maybe we can get some empty boxes. But special events, and you might say, what kind of special events can you possibly do during COVID?
Oh my gosh, we've done some really wonderful events during COVID. A lot of them have been drive-by, drive-up, contactless, where there's been some type of food involved. We did a nice dessert one and some really yummy food.
Oh, we did a COVID care package one over the
Yes.
holidays.
Mhm.
They usually have, well, not always, but they usually have some kind of beverage
Yes.
in them. And people on our waiting list, if there's any watching today, they're actually going to get a Valentine invitation because we're doing a special event about around Valentine's Day, not on
Yes.
Valentine's Day, but around that's Valentine themed. We can't let the cat out of the bag, but yeah. And also, if you are on our waiting list, and let's just say you're on our waiting list and your doctor tells you need a shoulder replacement, you might call us. It's not a guarantee, but because our nursing center is small and meant for our community, but we would give you priority to have rehab here if we're able to. So it's always worth the call.
Absolutely.
Same with long-term care or assisted living. If something happens to you and you're on our waiting list, we may not have an opening because we have to guarantee it for people who live here, but we might. So that's another, small benefit, and hopefully no one has to take us up on it,
Yeah.
but it could be important to you when you're thinking about, should I join Knollwood's waiting list?
The best time to join. Yeah. Yeah.
It's never too soon.
Never. It's never too soon to join the waiting list.
We meet people who um, have what I would call the I'm not ready syndrome.
Yeah.
And the people that have that syndrome tend to think that Knollwood is a place that you come to when you're having trouble.
When I need help.
Right. But it's not a place to come when you need help, because then you won't be eligible from a physical or cognitive standpoint.
Yeah.
Now, unless your help means like, you don't want to do housekeeping anymore, you don't want to have to worry about
Cooking
snow,
every day.
or maybe you only want to cook some of the time. Maybe you want to grocery shop less. Um, you know, that's more of a convenience than. But it's best to join the waiting list, because if you come to us and say, I've been thinking about Norwood for a long time now, and I want to come. Well, then we're going to say, okay, we have this studio apartment available, and we have this 1-bedroom apartment available, and you might want a 1-bedroom with den, or 2-bedroom with office, or something else. And then we will say, well, time to join the waiting list, and there are,
However
people
many
ahead of you.
people. Yeah.
So, and the reason it's never too soon is because if we call you for something and the timing doesn't work for you for whatever reason, you're not going to be moved to the end of the list.
Yeah.
So you keep your spot.
No penalty.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, because there are new people watching this webinar today, I think, people that are new to Knollwood, you're thinking, well, why would I even want to join the list? I'm just watching for the first time. Well, we understand. We wouldn't expect a first time person, but you may want to call us up and have a tour, because we are doing in-person tours.
Mm-hmm.
Or you may want to call us up and do a virtual tour, which we do by Zoom, and we take you to see what you want to see. So, for example, I did a tour today, and it was a gentleman. He was mainly interested in 1-bedrooms and 1-bedroom with den. So we focused on that. He did mention during the call that he is a practicing Catholic. So I showed him the chapel. If I did not know that, there's no reason to show somebody the chapel. And what else did I show? There were a few things that he was interested in seeing. So we walked around and he got to see things without coming in person. And some people are more comfortable doing that right now. But it's personal. It's geared toward you, the other person. It's not a group event like this is, where we're talking at you, kind of.
Right.
It's personal discussion. We answered his questions. His daughter, who lives in New York, was on. He lives in Virginia, and his son, who lives in DC, was on. So the family, was kind of all together. And for those of you who have been to Knollwood before and are watching and haven't yet joined the waiting list, if you've been here several times, your probably interest level is probably high. So join today or tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And we can mail you, if you wanted to receive an application in the mail or email, we can do that. So
you don't want to miss this special Valentine's treat. So please join the waiting list. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.
We just are trying to do fun things right now.
Yeah.
At Knollwood.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to tell people about our upcoming webinars. The next 3, one is later this month, and it talks about the difference between independent and assisted living. Oh, no, it's not. It's right sizing.
Caroline is getting ahead of herself. It's right sizing, which is so important. And it's something a lot of people kind of overlook in this process. They wait to the last minute. They're like, oh my gosh, I have 40 years worth of stuff in my house. What do I do? So right sizing and kind of talking through your options with a professional. We have Suzanne from Moyer, who will be joining us.
And there's a lot of tips.
Yeah.
Some people like to right size themselves. That's a good way to get more gray hair. But if you don't want a professional, want to do it yourself, you can get some good tips.
Yes.
It's never too soon to start. Even if you're not choosing Knollwood,
Yeah.
you could be choosing someplace in Wyoming.
Yeah,
But
anywhere.
it's good to see, the right sizing tips and things you can do in advance to plan. And that's January 26th. And then we have one in February.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be the 10th. And that is meeting residents.
Yeah.
So it's harder for people to meet residents of Knollwood because of COVID.
Yeah.
We can't have the parties and all the commingling like we used to. So usually we have two, three, or four residents on at a time. And actually there are two past Meet the Residents. They're both different people that are on knollwoodcommunity.org. I'm on the same page that you signed up for this webinar. And then you can meet through past webinars some people who live here, which is always kind of fun, get a feel for the people. And so we're going to have some other additional residents coming in February that haven't been on before. And then in February 11th, which is a Wednesday, it's not our typical webinar day, but we're going to have a session about ADF, which is the foundation that operates and founded Knollwood.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like we may not be getting any questions today. We might have come off scot-free. Now, if anybody here also wants information about Knollwood, we can send you, if you're new, a brochure packet if you'd like.
Yep.
So the best way to do that is either call us. Our phone number is on our website,
Mm-hmm.
and we can email it to you, or you can send us an email through our website with your address, and we can mail you information. So we're happy to do that.
Yeah. All right. Ooh, let's see.
We do have a question.
I missed the beginning of the webinar.
My internet is acting up. Will I have access to this program later? Yes, you will. This will be recorded, and it should be on our website by either Thursday or Friday at the latest.
Yeah.
So you can watch this whole session in its entirety.
Yes.
Yes. Internet seems to be acting up for a lot of people today.
Yeah.
I had a little challenge earlier with our database. Yeah, and there's another question there too,
Let's
I think.
see. In the chat.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Should we pop it up?
I think
No, that's the same one.
Oh.
Does Knollwood have access to a swimming pool? Oh my goodness.
We have
yes.
a pool.
Knollwood has a saltwater pool.
Yes.
So it's very nice, and a hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hot tub is saltwater though.
I don't know.
That's a good question. Anyway, our swimming pool is saltwater, very nice for doing laps, or if you're not a lap swimmer and you just want to kind of do some water exercises on your own. So we do. Very nice saltwater pool.
Yeah, it's great.
So that's a great question. Yeah. And if you're somebody who wants to come in person, we can show you the pool. Or if you don't want to come in person but want a Zoom virtual tour, we could actually take you to the pool, holding up our phone, and show you the pool that way too.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let's see.
Did we get another question?
Let's just check.
Don't trip, Helen.
goodness,
You're gonna trip in front of everybody.
It's not,
How big is our pool?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. It's not.
It probably is. I don't know. You have to measure it. It's got to be at least 25 yards.
Yeah.
But it's a decent size. It's not Olympic length. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
And I think it's 3 or 4 lanes wide. If you were going to do lap lanes.
I think. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So we've got a swimmer in there. And yes, we do have organized exercise activities.
Yeah.
Some are in person right now,
Oh
even
my
though
gosh.
it's COVID.
Yes.
But some are on Zoom. Like I think Tai Chi is both in person and on Zoom, I think, right now. So some of our exercises are both, and
Mhm.
some are just Zoom. And we're doing things in not the usual places because we're trying to make sure that we have enough space for everybody because of COVID. And any instructor that comes to teach here, an exercise class, has to get COVID tested every week, as do all the employees as well. And all of the instructors, were actually vaccinating all of them, as we're vaccinating all the employees and all residents. So anybody that's here at Knollwood, whether it's to teach a class or an art class, um, is there. Somebody's asking if the virtual tool is already online. No, these are personal one-to-one. So
Yeah,
like I said, if you're not a swimmer, you might not care about the pool, but you might want to see, um, the library instead. So all of our virtual tours are, they're not taped. They're for you. So it's not a group thing.
It's
You might,
customized.
you
for
might
the
say, I want to
appointment.
see the inside of that microwave. And
Yeah.
then we'll open the microwave for you to see in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, so it's very much personalized.
Yeah.
If you're a gentleman wanted to see the garden plots that we have for people,
Mhm.
so we're going to show you what you want to see.
Yeah.
On your tour. So it's, you can have anybody join your tour that you want. You could have your best friend, a partner, a spouse, family, or just you.
Yeah.
You can sit on your couch and sit back and watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Looks like we had a lot of good questions. So
Yeah.
thank you all for tuning in.
thanks for joining us, everybody.
And we hope to see you at another webinar. Again, if you want background information on Knollwood, you can go onto our website and view a prior webinar that talks more generalities about Knollwood, and you can also request a brochure from us as well.
Yes.
So, yes, so we do have a lot of organized activities, art classes,
Yeah.
lectures, French conversation, wine tasting, a
Mhm.
men's discussion group,
Yeah.
book clubs,
Yep.
as well as, well, now there's,
Shakespeare group.
oh yeah, Shakespeare group, Philharmonic groups.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So there are just a lot of
So
fun
many
things to do
things,
here. And to Judith, thank you, Judith. Yeah. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.